You know who I am. I'm Tichina Arnold, and you're listening to You Might Know Her From with Damien and Ann.
Welcome to another episode of You Might Know Her From with Damien and Ann.
Hey, it's me, Damien. I didn't know we were like rolling.
Oh, I thought we were rolling. We clapped. Folks, that's what we do. We do 1, 2, 3 clap, and then we start. And I copy and pasted the note into the chat. So we're ready. We're here. We're prepared.
Anna's using it. She's using this natural moment.
We can do a clean pickup in case we want to edit it out. Do you want to do that?
No. I like it. Now it's gritty.
So, folks, welcome back to another episode of You Might Know Her From. This is, of course, the podcast where Damien and I sit here and we shoot the shit with each other about what's happening in our lives, and also we interview an actress each episode. In an effort to talk about something else that isn't me being at home with my parents, I came up with nothing. So I was thinking about how, who did we ask recently, about conspiracy theories? We had posed this question in the rapid fire, asking somebody about conspiracy theories. Who was that?
Who was it? I do remember that somebody played a conspiracy. Oh, it's...
Oh, okay, we can't talk about it. Okay, got it. In a future episode, we have a question in the rapid fire to an actress about conspiracy theories. And Damien had started drafting the question. It was like, Anne has this conspiracy theory that Alexa is listening to. And I was like, excuse me, it's not a conspiracy theory. A conspiracy theory is believing that Lee Harvey Oswald was a patsy, which I believe he was. Alexa is for sure listening to. I actually think she's on right now and I should go turn it off. The point is, I'm home with my parents. They love Alexa. We use Alexa all evening to listen to music while we make dinner and then while we have dinner. And they've been listening to a lot of country music and 80s and 90s classic with quotes around it, including Randy Travis. So I have been listening to a steady stream of Randy Travis, who I didn't grow up listening to. I don't know where this came from, but I'm actually kind of very into it. So I texted Damien, I'm listening to so much Randy Travis. He was like, who is that? Isn't he dead? And I was like, he's not dead.
No.
You were trying to kill off Randy Travis.
I didn't kill him. I thought Randy Travis was Randy, not Quaid, Randy, Toy Story Randy.
Oh, Randy Newman. Yeah.
I thought it was Randy
Very
Newman.
different.
Randy Travis, to me, when I was like, oh, I forgot he existed. And then I was like, oh, he's like a Pierce Brosnan, a.k.a. Piercy B type. He's weathered and strapping. And I was like, I'm hot for Randy Travis. He
kind of had a Lyle Lovett jaw. But then also I think he had a stroke recently. He's not doing so well. He got a DWI.
Yes. He had a Lyle Lovett thing. And I remember people used to say Lyle Lovett was so ugly, but I guess he was married to Julia Roberts. I was not aware of who he was, obviously, as a young person. And then I've discovered Lyle Lovett a little bit as an adult. And I'm one, I think he's attractive, in his own way. And two, I'm into some of his music.
Same. I like his music too. I like how he looks. Here's one of the things. This is again part of our Venn diagram crossover, where you and I like people that other people are that person is hideous, and it made me laugh today because Max Wyeth, who's very funny online, has discovered the podcast through Leslie Ann Warren and has been very generous in sharing lots of our work and digging into the archives. And he went back and listened to Vicki Lewis today, and I was DMing with him about. He was like, I need to know if Vicki Lewis went and talked about Billy Bob Thornton more from Pushing-Tin. I need to know about him and Angelina. And I was like, okay, me and Damien are so hot for Billy Bob Thornton, and this is our crossover. And it's true. I can't remember if Vicki Lewis did talk about Billy Bob Thornton, but I'm going to go back into the raw audio for you, Max, and discover. Because honestly, I'm trying to think of other people that hit that. Lyle Lovett, Billy Bob Thornton.
Mick Jagger.
Harvey Keitel.
Not for me, but I get it.
Interesting.
Mick Jagger for you?
Into it. No, but I get it.
This is a whole conversation. In Kissing Jessica Stein.
That's why I mentioned Harvey Keitel. Harvey Keitel was mentioned as ugly sexy in Kissing Jessica Stein.
Who's a woman though? Who checks that off as a woman?
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. Folks, if you have somebody that you think lines up with our qualifications for someone who is unconventionally sexy, please send it our way. So thanks to Max for shouting out that Vicki Lewis episode. He's doing what we recommend everyone should do, which is dive into our archives. Also, I don't know who left this particular review, but we woke up to it recently and it just says, I really like this show, learning more and more about these women's life. I also appreciate whenever they bring up who has appeared on Fairy Tale Theater. You're so welcome. If I could do a show just about Fairy Tale Theater, I would, but we like to work it in whenever we can. That show is magnificent.
We also got a review from West Coast Story, and I want to thank them as well. They said they were a big Facts of Life fan, and they somehow found us through, I think, Mindy Cohn. Facts of Life fans, welcome. We also interviewed Nancy McKean, and we're working on, we will 100% interview the other two before we get, I don't know, canceled by ourselves. But we will 100% interview Kim Field and Lisa Welchel, and welcome. We are into the Facts of Life, and more in recent years, and me as more of a child.
It's queer canon at this point. So thank you all, listeners old and new. You know what to do. The best thing you can do if you like what we're doing is to please leave us a review on the Apple Podcast app. 5 stars and a couple of words would be so kind.
Folks, when we started this podcast, on the tip top of our list was this week's guest. And of course, that is the great Tichina Arnold. We were huge fans of her work forever, for Martin, for Everybody Hates Chris, for, of course, our all-time favorite musical, well, my all-time favorite musical in our top 10s of each of ours, Little Shop of Horrors. We were beyond delighted to score this interview with Tichina to talk about all of the things that she has in her incredible body of work. She is not only a gifted, comedian, but also an incredible singer and has, the chops. And we were really it's, of course, the thing that we love about this podcast is getting to uncover work that maybe we were not as familiar with prior. So, folks, this one was just the bee's knees.
You might know her from The Neighborhood,
Martin,
Everybody Hates Chris,
The Last Black Man in San Francisco,
The Lena Baker Story,
Big Mama's House,
and Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh boy. We are here with actress, comedian, singer, Tichina Arnold. Tichina, I can't tell you how over the moon we are to have you on the show. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. I haven't heard that saying in a long time, over the moon.
And we got a lot of old-timey phrases for you.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay, so Tichina, we're going to dive right in here. So you currently play Tina, one half of a couple with Cedric the Entertainer on CBS's The Neighborhood. Mm-hmm. The premise of this series for our listeners hinges on your family's surprise when a white family, Max Greenfield and Beth Bears, move next door in your historically black neighborhood. You and Cedric have great chemistry, and the show is a really wonderful showcase for both of your talents. I was curious when we were doing our research, you've had long-running gigs on Fox and then on UPN turned CW, and this was way back when Fox was not even part of the Bonafide Four. What has it been like now, as an established professional, to be on a classic CBS 3-camera sitcom? Is there a difference?
Yeah, there's a big difference. I've always loved television, period, because I just was drawn to it. A lot of people didn't realize that I had never been on a major network. When I did Martin, I did All My Children. That's a lie. I was on a major network. I did Ryan's Hope and All My Children. That was ABC. But that the whole soap opera world is a completely different world than the sitcom world. But when I decided that, I wanted to move to California and give it a shot and just toss my chips to the wind and see what would land. When I booked Martin, it was really cool because, Fox was a new network, it was an independent network. And then when I did Everybody Hates Chris, as you said, was on UPN, and then we were able to make it the transition to, CW. So being on The Neighborhood is the first time I've been on a major network, which is CBS. And I think there's no other better place to be right now because CBS has just been a wonderful home for me. I think The Neighborhood is a great show. It's the perfect show for this network.
The show is light, but it also tackles a variety of real life issues like gentrification and, different races finding cultural common ground. Can you tell us, did the nationwide protests for Black lives and against police brutality in 2020, did any of that inform sort of the conversations that were going on at CBS, at the network, on set?
Most definitely. Every day is a new day and a different day on the set of The Neighborhood. To have Cedric the Entertainer at the helm is just perfect for us because Cedric not only is just a wonderful actor, comedian, and counterpart, but he is a good man all around. And I never worked with him. So, it was my first, I've known him for 20 something years. And I'm like, wow, I've never worked with you. Said this is the first time I'm working with you. So to be able to work with him, but Cedric is very, he's one of those actors that he also produces the show as well. And he does a damn good job at it. He and Jim Reynolds make sure that the show keeps a certain integrity and honesty, because it's a sitcom, we can go but so deep. But we make sure that we tackle subject matters that need to be tackled. So during that whole, we're still going through it, but, during George Floyd and it was the aftermath of it was hard for a lot of people and it affected a lot of us. And Jim Reynolds said he wanted to be able to write it in the show. So he had the input from all of us, Marcel Spears, Shion McKinney. I would say Max, but Max, Max, our show, we teach each other. So we do exactly what the show conveys. Like this show bridges a lot of gaps. Like Beth and I are the best of friends because she's just such a wonderful human being. And so when you're working with good people, it makes your job that much easier. So this show has displayed that. Like, so everything you see on camera really happens off camera as well. And we just, you have a Black family and a white family sitting down at the same dinner table. You got to, pretty much hit on a lot of subjects that need to be discussed.
I'm obsessed with your relationship with Beth. There's a lot of online content, and you guys seem like you get along really well. And I really appreciate it. It seems like there's a good chemistry among the cast. Certainly in your family, I love everything. You and Cedric are mwah, chef's kiss.
It's fun, and just to be able to do a show that other people truly enjoy. I told Beth and I had a few conversations, and it's like there are a lot of other Beths and Tichina, or we call ourselves Beezy and Teasy. So there's a lot of there's some more of us out there, and so I think Beth and I represent a relationship that doesn't get a chance to be seen on television. And for us, it's like the first of its kind, especially for CBS. And my sister she explained to me, she said, Tichina, do you realize you're the second Black mom ever on CBS, period? First was Isabel Sanford.
What is that, like a 50-year gap?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus.
But change is happening. It's not as fast as we want, but I'm very happy with CBS and all of the lengths that they've gone to really not only be cognizant of the disparity between white America and Black America, but also, they've put their money where their mouth is. We have a lot of inclusivity behind the scenes as well. So we have a very multicultural show off camera, so you have a lot of people that are actually working much harder now that we're in quarantine than they were before. So you have a lot of people that have not only one job, they got like 4 jobs now because we have to be, COVID compliant. So being on CBS has really worked out for the better. And I'm happy that CBS has made change, but change for the good.
So you mentioned it, Tichina, but let's get into one of your most recognizable roles, of course, came in the 90s when you starred as Gina's best friend Pam on Martin Lawrence's Fox sitcom Martin. The show was a huge hit. It helped make Fox like one of the powerful 4, as we said. And your cast had this great chemistry, and the format allowed you to show off both like your physical comedy chops and your singing chops. And the show holds up insanely well, I think mostly because it's just very character driven and everybody is so good together. So with all the reboots and reunions that are happening, can you tell us the odds of actually getting a Martin reunion or a revival on the books?
Let's just say we worked very hard at getting a Martin. I call it a rebirth because since Tommy is no longer with us, the show Martin will never be the same. So I said, if we do make a go of it, it will be a rebirth. But it looks like that's more than likely not to happen because of our schedules. And sometimes it's okay to end things where they are. That's what I say. I mean, but we have taken steps. We met about it. We talked about it. We've done everything we could to see if it could happen. And I never say never, but so far it's looking like it's probably more than likely not going to happen. And I'm okay with that.
It does hold
Honestly,
up, and
like, it holds up really well. Like, people should just go back and revisit the old episodes because it's like better than a lot of things that are currently on TV.
Yeah, I can't believe that people are still watching it. It's just like, we didn't know what we had then. You know, we as a cast of Martin, we came to work literally to laugh every day. We came to work to make the crew laugh. Like, it was honestly one big family. Like, it's just the synergy, the camaraderie, everything was just great. And back then, as we made each other laugh in front of the camera and behind the camera, we didn't realize that we would be comfort to so many people now. I mean, I get all kinds of people, all generations of people, age groups, colors, creeds. Once Martin hit syndication, it was crazy. Like, literally, I get grandparents on down to the great grandkids that could sit there and watch Martin and love it. They watch it as if it's new shows. I'm like, you guys, y'all watching this as if it's new episodes. So I'm happy that we could, still continue to bring laughter to people's lives, especially now.
I mean, it really is like comedy at its best, just like on a base level, but it's also in this time of like Black golden age of television, when we have all of these like Living Single and The Fresh Prince and Moesha, all of these shows. So it's like both of those things. And it was like in the zeitgeist, and it mattered. And you had so many famous guest stars, like the Biggie episode where Pam and Gina are competing for to be one of his backup singers is iconic. It's like one of the episodes that everyone mentions when they think of Pam. But you also had Snoop, Marla Gibbs, Chris Rock, Outkast. Tracy Morgan, way back before he was Tracy Morgan.
That was his first job. That was his first professional job on TV.
Is there like any like notorious or hilarious story of any of these sort of guest stars that were on the show?
Oh, there's a different story for everybody. I remember doing that Biggie episode, and Biggie had just had his accident. I'm from New York, so Biggie is like God to everybody. Like he's the rapper God. We were very excited about him coming on, and I remember standing on the other side of the door about to do the scene, and I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Like, I got to do something funny. Like, well, how can I make this entrance funny? And as soon as I busted the door open, I just automatically started acting like Mary J. Blige. Like, Mary J. So, it's just being able to work with a comedic genius like Martin was just a plus for me because he kept me on my toes. Like, literally, to be able to work with him, it made me better. He's a comedic genius. So I learned a lot, being on Martin, and being able to look back now at all of the different people that came on the show. It's fun. It's definitely a lot of nostalgic moments, but I don't watch myself. So you watch the reruns. I don't watch myself. The first 2 seasons of Martin, I was only in half of the episodes. I wasn't in every episode. My contract was only 7 out of 13. And we usually did like 25 episodes a season. So I would only be in they actually only did 13 episodes the first 2 seasons. And then I was all shows produced. So I'm not in every episode. But it's good that, if you don't notice, that's good too.
You made a splash.
So, I mean, you mentioned that you were in 7 episodes out of 13, but, the notorious 5th season of the show, Tisha Campbell filed a sexual harassment lawsuit against Martin Lawrence. And the result was sort of her appearing only in, a handful of scenes and not with Martin. So you ended up, taking on a lot of responsibility in that last season. Can you talk a little bit about that last season for you being front and center, and were you ready for it to end when it did?
None of us were ready for the show to end, but things got a little, I would say, not hectic, but a lot of pressure happened. Martin was doing films as well. So there was a lot of things going on, and things were changing on the set. The temperature was different. The mood was different. Mm-hmm. After a while, like, people don't realize when you're on a television show, you are seeing these people more than you're seeing your family. Literally. Like, you're seeing these people more than you see your pets. So we had something that I'll always cherish. We had a great show. We all knew each other. Martin and Tommy were friends. Carl and Tisha, we grew up together in New York. So we all knew each other in some sort of way. So for that to kind of come to an end. It was a hard, pill to swallow, but it was okay because sometimes, like I told you, all good things must come to an end. That's why, you try to wrap your head around that. But we got some good moments out of it. We've got some good history out of it. And it was very hard being thrust into the responsibility of not taking Tisha's place, but more of the load of holding that female energy. I'll put it that way, that female energy on the show. But I tried to take it like a champ. And the reason why I was able to take it like a champ, because Martin nor Tisha ever made me feel uncomfortable. So that was a good thing, and that actually helped. And, we, as a family, we have issues, we have problems, and, that was how the problem was dealt with. But we're good now. It's Martin and Tisha are talking now. Everything is good. So we all grow up and we all evolve, and we just only pray that we get better.
You also have a role in the 2019 indie darling, The Last Black Man in San Francisco, which is also about gentrification. It's one of the smartest, most beautiful, strangest films I've seen in a very long time. I highly recommend all of our listeners watch it. It's streaming right now. I heard an interview where you said that you fought tooth and nail to get the role of Aunt Wanda. Can you tell us what did fighting for that role look like for you?
I auditioned for that role while I was in Atlanta. I had to put myself on tape. And I remember reading, I didn't have the whole script, so I just had the sides. And, a lot was cut from the movie, but it literally was 4 pages of dialogue that Aunt Wanda had in that scene at the end. And I just loved the role. Like I said, I had not seen, as a Black woman in Hollywood, we don't get a lot of things that were written for us or by us. It's getting a little better, but we got a long way to go. And when the role, the opportunity came to me to audition for it, I was all in because I wanted to sink my teeth into some more drama. And that was a good opportunity to do it. On top of the movie being, like, I just call it it's just a poetry. It's a poem. The movie is just so timeless and timely that I just was happy to be a part of that piece of work. It's just a beautiful piece of work.
You have depth and pathos. We get to see that when you do comedy, but it was just like a different format, and getting to see you put those talents to, a different type of film.
That's exactly why I did it. The reaction that you have, it's just different. It's a breath of fresh air. It's like something, like, wow, she could do that too. But not only that, I try to live my life as an entertainer in this business of show, because this is all I've done. I've been in show business since I was 11. I've never had a regular job. This is what I've done, and this is what God has blessed me to do. Wake up every day loving what I do. So I savor that. And so I try to find moments and opportunities that I can be able to branch out and just kind of spread my wings a bit, along with people that I came up with as well. Like I have a company called Famously Blacker. And I name it Famously Blacker for a reason, because, I could go anywhere in America, and if you're Black, more than likely you're going to know who I am. But, it's wonderful being on CBS now, because now I have a new audience and a more broader audience, a wider audience. So it gives me an opportunity to entertain and, show my chops, to a whole new set of people. So I always look for wonderful opportunities. I want to do this till the day I die, or the day I just decide not to do it anymore. But I consider myself as a minister. I minister. And the way I minister to people is through my entertaining.
So, Tichina, you starred from 2005 to 2009 as Rochelle, the matriarch of the UPN turned CW Everybody Hates Chris. The show is based, of course, on Chris Rock's growing up in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn in the 80s, and you, in fact, grew up in Jamaica, Queens around the same time. So were you able to draw on any of the women in your life or that you knew to create Rochelle, who seems to be the glue of this family?
Yes. My daughter was just turning 3 at the time when I did that, or 2. She was 2. So I was a new mother, and I'm like, oh my God, here I go playing. Once you play a role of a mother, you're gonna always be a mother. So I knew that no act from that point on. So I was very lucky to be able to, work with Chris Rock and Ali Leroy, because I would always say that show taught me something. It taught me new responsibility. It taught me, I was number one on the call sheet. So it was new responsibility that I just welcomed with open arms. To be on Everybody Hates Chris, I didn't know how to be a mother because I was a new mother. So I invoked the three matriarchs in my life: my mom, my grandmother, and my aunt. So even when I watch, like if I see it or if it's on TV, because I don't watch myself, but I have like been turned the channel and I've seen like a scene come up, and I'm like, I look just like my mother, or I look just like my grandma. So I really just took bits and pieces of all of them and just put them all in Rochelle, because I didn't know Chris Rock's mother. I didn't know how, what kind of person she was, only other than what he, told me. So as long as Mama Rock was okay with it, she gave me her blessing. So I'm like, okay, cool, I'm good.
In 2008, you headlined the film The Lena Baker Story and portrayed the real-life Lena Baker, the only woman to ever be executed by the electric chair after she was convicted of murder for killing her white employer, who had sexually assaulted her and held her captive in near slavery. And I think worth mentioning that she was pardoned in 2005 posthumously.
Yep. Yeah.
As discussed, you're such a skilled comedian. Of course, it makes sense that your talent runs so deep. But it was really thrilling to watch you get to carry a film and do drama. Can you talk about this project, how this role came to you and what it was like to have the weight of a film and a dramatic film on your back?
Oh my God. So that came from Ralph Wilcox, who is also a fellow actor. If you look him up, I think he's been on Good Times. He was on, during the 80s, he was on a lot of shows. You could Google him. He approached me about doing the role, and he says, Tichina, I've seen you do comedy. He says, but anybody that does comedy so well, the way you do it, I know that you can do drama. And I jumped at this opportunity because, like I told you, I like taking roles that I can be proud of. And to play my first dramatic role, it wasn't easy, but I'm happy that I got through it and I was able to do this character some justice, because I'm playing someone who's already gone, so I met a few of Lena Baker's family members, so I really had nothing to go by other than this one book that this woman wrote about her life and what happened, and just listening and hearing about her story and actually filming the movie in Colquitt, Georgia, where both families are still there to this day. So I got a chance literally to envelop the role as I created it, if you could understand. I think I probably only smiled one time in that movie, because I remember Ralph telling me, this woman's had a lot of hard knocks. She's had a rough life. She had good times when she was younger. And then just from there on, it just all went downhill. She lost her kids, the whole bit. This man literally held her captive. So just the whole story and the depth of the story and the story within the story was just so interesting and so poignant that I wanted to make sure that I did it justice. So I'm happy that you brought that up, because I think it's a great movie. I think Ralph Wilcox did a wonderful job.
Tishina, we couldn't possibly have this conversation with you and not bring up one of our favorite musicals of all time, and that's, of course, Little Shop of Horrors. So for our listeners, of course, you appear in the 1986 film adaptation as Crystal, one of the street urchins, alongside Tisha Campbell and Michelle Weeks. We think here on this show that Little Shop is a perfect film adaptation of a stage musical. Frank Oz, he just knew how to do it. We were stunned, though, to learn that you were a teenager at the time of filming, and it was the first time that you worked with your now BFF, Tisha Campbell. Please, can you describe your time on that set? Did you rehearse it like a stage show? Was Frank Oz a perfectionist? Did he let you do your thing? What was that experience?
Frank Oz is one of the best directors I've ever worked with. What I loved and was more excited about the most with working with Frank Oz was that he was the voice of Miss Piggy. So we literally we made him direct us in the voice of Miss Piggy.
Oh my God.
To be a 15-year-old Black girl from Jamaica, Queens, New York, fly the Concorde, I live in London for a year. I'm, in a trailer with Steve Martin and John Candy and Ellen Green and Rick Moranis. And I mean, it just doesn't happen to somebody in a lifetime. So for me to have able to have had that experience, it's just great. And I did the play as well. I did the Orpheum Theater, but I did the play after I did the movie. So I was on, I did the Orpheum Theater as well. So I got the best of both worlds.
This is incredible news. We didn't find that in our research and are very excited about that. Did you play Crystal?
I played Chiffon. No, not played. No, I played Crystal in the play, and I played what? No, wait a minute. In the movie, I played Crystal. I played Ronette. I played Ronette in the play. Sorry, I'm 51.
And that's who my dog is named after. Tichina, the dog you met.
That's cute. Like, that's for Ronnie Spector, I think.
Yeah. She's sort of named for Ronnie Spector / Ronette because she was a street urchin. She was found on the streets.
Yeah. I asked Frank Oz once we got to London and it was our first day of work. And I said, what made you choose us? Because they audition. He said, Tichina, we audition girls, women, teenagers all around the world. He said, we had auditions in Australia. We had auditions in Brazil. They had auditions everywhere. And I said, how did you end up back to us? He says, no one had the same synergy the way you, Michelle, and Tisha did. No one could outdo you girls. Like, y'all had something that, no one, a cohesiveness that no one else had. And I said, you know what? That makes sense. And I thought about it. I was like, wow. Well, Michelle Weeks and I grew up together in school because we went to the same school. We knew the same people, so we kind of grew up together. And then Tisha and I grew up together. So we all three of us knew each other in some sort of way. And who knew that Little Shop of Horrors would be, the big movie that it is now? Because when it first came out, like, nobody wasn't talked about. It wasn't, Tisha and I went to the movies to go see it. And we went to 42nd Street and, we went to this big movie theater and nobody was in the movie theater. We were like, oh my God, the movie is a flop. Oh no. And we sat down, this couple sat behind us. And so we're like, watching the movie, excited, like looking for people's reactions. And the girl behind us said, I'm sick of seeing these bees keep on singing. I'm tired because they thought it was a horror movie. She said, this ain't
God.
So we just jumped down in our seats like, oh my God. So we walked out. Needless to say, we didn't see the rest of the movie. So when Little Shop of Horrors came out, like it wasn't a big hit. It wasn't until later. It's kind of like what Martin did. When Martin came out, it wasn't a big hit. It wasn't until later and people started catching on. Like, wow, this is a really good show. Little Shop of Horrors was a wonderful experience for me. Experience of a lifetime.
We're so excited to learn that you did the stage show too, because, as some of our listeners might know, test audiences hated the film's original unhappy ending, which is, of course, the same as the stage show. So Frank Oz ended up reshooting a new happy ending. And I think some diehard Little Shop fans were upset that they didn't keep the original dark material. But for me, it totally works and is the right ending for the medium of film. It just is correct for the film. Have you seen the original cut of the movie with the original ending? And do you have an opinion about it, having done the unhappy ending in the stage show?
That's where we come out with subsequent to the events you just witnessed. That was fun because what I remember about that was that's when they flew us on the Concorde to come back because they changed the ending of the movie. We had already gotten back to America. And they said, oh, ladies, we know you just landed, but you got to come back. We're going to change, Frank's going to change the ending of the movie. And we had to get there quickly. So they ended up putting us on the Concorde. And I was able to sit first class. The whole plane was first class, but to look out at the horizon and get from New York to London in 3 hours and 15 minutes, faster than the speed of sound. I would say that was the most exciting thing for me in terms of changing the ending on that movie. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Great opportunity. Great opportunity.
Is it true that Tisha did not go to the reshoot because she had booked something else, and so there's a stand-in?
That was a stand-in. Not Tisha on the alternate ending. She didn't
so
get a chance to ride the Concorde. I did.
That's so cool. Okay, so Tichina, your theater credits are massive. So you were Eveline in The Wiz at City Centers, which I was lucky enough to have seen. You did Hair. You were in If These Hips Could Talk. You did Debbie Allen's Alex in Wonderland, Nora Ephron's Love, Loss, and What I Wore off Broadway. And you were in the first equity tour of Buddy, the Buddy Holly story, which you completed right before you got cast in Martin.
Damn, you've done your homework.
Is theater still in your bones? Like, do you have any desire in your life to do a Broadway play or musical, or are you good?
Theater is always in my bones. Theater is what my bones are made of. It's theater. I started off in theater, and I will always love theater. I love doing theater because, of course, there's nothing like the live audience, but I've never done Broadway. Little Shop of Horrors was an off-Broadway show. It wasn't a Broadway show. It was, so I have yet to do Broadway. I'm still waiting.
Would you do it? Are you open?
I would. That's why I did The Wiz. I had so much fun being in The Wiz and playing Eveline. It was just the best because, and just how, that was like my heart was hurt when, we weren't able to bring that show to Broadway because, all the other actors and dancers and performers, it was just such a good show and just well put together. And visually, it was just, perfect.
For our listeners, there is a bootleg of you doing No Bad News, and it's very good.
Oh, really? Yeah. I think it's on YouTube. Somebody.
It is. It is.
It was an easy gig. Like literally, I'm at the end of the first act, and then I'm and then I come in for my bows at the end. But I really wanted that show to go to Broadway because it was just such a pleasure. The Wiz is iconic in my house. Like we watch it every year. It's just one of the best shows that I've seen in my life, honestly, because I love, that's being acquainted with Diana Ross when she did it. So it's something that we watch in my house on Thanksgiving. Back in the day, I can't remember what network it was, but the network, or a specific network, were playing every year around Thanksgiving. So, it's family time for us. So we all sit around and watch The Wiz. But I've auditioned for Broadway. I'm gonna just keep on auditioning. We'll
all right.
see.
Well, we have some theater listeners, so I need those producers to get on it and figure it out. Because also The Wiz, there's been talks of it since that production. Then there was Brandy was trying to get a production of it to come back so that she could be Dorothy in a revival. And I just the shit can't get together. But they need when the theaters open up, we need The Wiz to happen.
Music has always been at the core of my life and center of my life. So it's like part of my heartbeat. And I always want to do things. So I would love to do Beth Bears. We want to do a live version of The Neighborhood. We want to
do a musical episode.
We've been begging. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we're trying to convince CBS to do it. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Okay, Tichina, we have now entered the part of the show that is rapid fire. This is really rapid fire for Ann and I because we're throwing a lot of things at you all over the place. You can take your time if you need to, but theoretically we're wrapping up, Okay, Tichina, what was more cutthroat, pilot season in the 90s or LaGuardia High School of the Performing Arts where you went?
Oh, pilot season in the 90s. That was like home. That was a family unit.
Fuck, Marry, Kill, your characters edition. Tina from The Neighborhood, Rochelle from Everybody Hates Chris, and Pam from Martin.
What, do I have to pick one?
You're going to fuck one, marry one, kill one. Who of those characters?
Well, fuck Pam, marry Tina, and kill Rochelle.
Oh, easy. Okay.
Okay, Damien and I are best friends. You and Tisha Campbell are best friends and have known each other since you were 11. What is a story you can tell us that is representative of your friendship?
The fact that we've been able to survive and still be friends this long. And we've been trying to get rid of each other for years. That's what bitch, I've been trying to get rid of your ass for years. But the fact that we made it through we came up together. So when Tisha and I used to go on auditions, and the way we became friends at age 15 and 16 was we would be in all these auditions, and this one girl always got the part. Like every time we saw that one girl, and I don't want to say her name, but
don't say her name. Does she still work?
Please say it. Is she famous?
She doesn't even work anymore. We got. She's a doctor. Oh, she's a doctor. My sister just told me.
Zane came through.
More money than us.
Oh, that's hilarious.
No, you've got that CBS money now.
But, Tisha and I, we just beat a lot of odds. We had each other to lean on during hard times. We still have each other to lean on. So we beat a lot of odds. And, some relationships were just meant to be. You meet people in your lifetime, and it's just that it was just meant to be. And Tisha is one of those relationships that I think we probably may have known each other in the past life. Who knows? But we have beat a lot of odds, and we've grown up together. We were, single together, then we were married together, and now we have kids together. Not together, but we experiencing, motherhood, and now we're experiencing, middle age.
You worked with one of our favorites, Ellen Greene, of course, in Little Shop of Horrors. The question is, did you get to see Ellen Greene's neck vein pop out while she was singing?
Yeah, always.
You said it. We were like, she might not.
Yeah. That Ellen Greene sings her ass off. Let me tell you. And if you see her do the line, like you had to see her on stage. Woo! She's a bad mama. That Ellen Greene is nothing. She ain't nothing to be played with.
I love that. You played Fran Drescher's best friend Judy on her TV Land sitcom Happily Divorced. One of our previous guests, Ann Harada, told us that when she worked with Fran was a strong advocate for coffee enemas. Did Fran ever try to push you towards coffee enemas in your days with working with her?
Fran pushed everything on us. I'm pointing to my sister. I'm pointing to a person you can't see right now for your audience, but my sister has lupus. And Fran, the first thing she says, oh my God, we got to get your life cleaned out. We got to you got to eat healthy. You've got to do things. Oh God, Zanae, you got to change your life. So literally, Fran, this is what Fran did to me. She said, all right, Tichina, Zanae, I want you, when you wake up in the morning, count how many things you put in or on your body. I lost count. With Cancer Schmancer, she's a cancer survivor, and she lives and breathes, like literally she doesn't eat off plastic. There are no plastic bottles on set. I didn't even know what it meant to drink out of glass bottles till I got to Happily Divorced. I'm like, is this a glass bottle with water? Okay. She lives and breathes it. Fran taught me and my sister how to lobby. We didn't know how to we went to DC, so she showed us how to lobby, which was a great experience. But when she told us to count how many carcinogens we put in and on our body, and we lost count, we literally changed our lives from there. And it actually helped us help other people who have autoimmune diseases as well. So, yeah.
Okay, Tichina, you were on one of my favorite obsessions. It's, of course, Celebrity Wife Swap, and you swapped lives with Baywatch star Kelly Packard for a week. So please tell me, how real was that experience? Did you actually know who she was? Did you have a say in who you swapped with? Did you actually sleep in their house? And did you end up sneaking any alcohol that week at Kelly's, since she's a Mormon and had a dry household?
Oh, honey, I bought my alcohol. I was not. I said, I am not going to anybody's White House with no alcohol. I was like, and her family, Darren, her husband, like such a beautiful family. It was so funny though, because what came of that, because I stay away from the whole reality thing, and no, I did not sleep it's very, even before COVID, production companies are very funny about safety. And so I was happy to know, that I didn't have to sleep there, and there were certain things that I didn't have to do. And you work that out in your contract prior to. But they had a beautiful house. The family was great. And then I actually named my bulldog Alice after their bulldog Alice. So that's how my bulldog Alice got her name, because when I was there, their son, he had reptiles. Like he had this, like, like the whole reptile thing, but I love dogs. Alice, their dog, allowed me to live that experience a little happier. I said, when I get a bulldog, I'm going to name her Alice. And that's exactly what I did. I named my bulldog Alice after her dog. But great family experience. And it's so funny. Darren and I were in the limousine headed back because it was like the last, we had, finished filming. So I'm sitting in the car with him and, his kids call him. And they're like, Dad, we want her to stay. We want her to stay.
Yeah, they didn't know what they were missing until you entered their household. They're like, oh, this is a possibility?
Yes, it was so cool, though. It was, that was a fun experience. It was a fun experience.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tichina, you were in the 1997 movie Fake and Defunk. Nell Carter played your mom, and you help your Chinese foreign exchange student Margaret Cho acclimate to South Central LA by teaching her how to strut and dance. The film is a wild time warp, and we loved it. Do you have any good Nell Carter stories from that set?
Oh my God. You know what? I totally forgot about that film, and that film was fun to make. Margaret is like nonstop laughter.
Mm-hmm.
Nell Carter, I just always put her in high regard because people don't realize Nell Carter was starring, a black woman starring in her own show that was coming on like 5 times a day. Like that was the first time I even paid attention to syndication. I'm like, oh my God. And just can sing her ass off. She's another theater baby. So, you had this woman who was just full of so many talents, and I'm finally, able to work with her. But, we lost a great one. Just they don't make them like that anymore.
We're going to email your team a couple links of our favorite Nell Carter performances on YouTube. She's her voice is wild.
Wow.
Insane.
Her comedic timing. Like I was watching Nell Carter, Marsha Warfield. They're just funny women outside. Because, I was raised watching Carol Burnett and Flip Wilson. So by the time, I love Lucille Ball, but it was, I liked watching her, but she wasn't my demographic. But I paid attention and studied Carol Burnett and Nell Carter, Marsha Warfield. So these are all of the women that really have been impressionable to me throughout my life.
Okay, Tichina, final question here. We found out that you are a huge celebrity in Brazil. What is the biggest perk you get when you go to Brazil?
Feeling like Michael Jackson, man. Listen, people don't, I don't know if people understand. There are over 200 million Black people in Brazil. And to go there and get that amount of love and that amount of energy, I was floored. I actually have more Brazilian followers than I do American followers, and their fan pages have more followers than I have. I'm like, how the hell y'all got more followers than me? But the people of Brazil are just so beautiful and so wonderful and so gracious. I've been to the favelas. I've been to, Carnival. I've experienced wonderful things in Brazil. And I had to ask one of a woman that, told me, she's like, Tichina, you really should go to Brazil. And I'm like, why? And she says, I don't know if you realize that, you're huge in Brazil. So I did a little research, and I was told that on Everybody Hates Chris, there's only 2 television stations, and the one television station that they have that caters to, Black people, I was their first positive female image. So that's why a lot of them were endearing with me. It's almost like Brazil is living in the 70s when there was colorism and all, it's just, they're in the 70s with how America was in the 70s. They're living that right now. So, they got some catching up to do, but to be able to go to Brazil and have that experience, and because they kept calling, they're like, you are my mom, you are my mom, you are my mom. And I hate that they don't use subtitles, because I would love for them to hear my voice, but they have overdubs. So if they don't...
You got to learn Portuguese, Tichina.
I tried. I tried to learn Portuguese. I sound crazy.
Oh, I'm into it. I'm into your fan base there, though.
Yes, and I mean Brazil. I always give Brazil love because they always give me love, and they have been fans for a very long time. So I definitely am going to get back to Brazil. I want to go to Bahia, El Salvador, and experience that. But Brazil is great, and I hope to do some work there, and I hope to do plant my feet there a little bit and get some more stuff under my belt. Never know.
Tichina Arnold, I can't tell you that this is the thrill of a lifetime for us. Thank you so much for joining us on You Might Know Her From.
Thank you for asking great questions. Really good questions. And doing your research. Like, damn, I'm like, he knows my career more than I know. I'm like, did I do that? But thank you guys. You be blessed and stay safe.
Okay. I mean, gosh, the amount of reveals and talking about it all was just the most. But that moment, Anne, when you asked her about, did you see Ellen Green's neck vein while she was singing? And I was like sitting on the edge of my seat, assuming that she'd be like, what do you mean? I don't understand. What is the question? And then she was like, oh, yeah. Like, it was no... we didn't have
hesitation.
We didn't have to translate.
She was like, of course, we're all familiar with Ellen Green's neck vein. She was like, I was 15, but of course I knew. We just weren't sure because, like, to us, if you watch Ellen Green in the movies, on stage, in the video, Hey, Mr. Producer, the neck vein is what you know when she goes, a washer and a dryer, or whatever. Like, she really gives it full throttle. And it was, I mean, Tichina has had this incredible career, and getting to talk to her about Little Shop of Horrors and The Wiz, please go watch that clip of her doing No Bad News. It just makes me want her to be on Broadway. I just need her to be, when New York Theater reopens, I just want somebody to fucking give Tichina Arnold a vehicle and put her on stage because I would die.
Also, Tichina has a production company with her sister Zanae, and Zanae was I don't know actually where they were, if they were in their office or in one of their homes, but Zanae was like close by, and so you probably heard her a couple times. And I was like so charmed by Zanae because she was like she like knew, she would like fill in the blanks for Tichina if Tichina was like, wait, what? So thank you to Zanae also for making it all come together. This one was just, I mean, they all are. It was incredible to finally land this incredible woman.
As you know, we've been doing this thing where we connect this week's guest to next week's guest. We love blind items. Does anybody else out there love Ted Casablanca the way that Damien and I do? Does anybody else want to talk about Crazy Days and Nights? Dumois went downhill real fast. We were actually just talking about the site Dumois on Instagram. But anyway, we love a blind item, Damien and I. This is, again, part of our Venn diagram crossover. So, Damien, can you connect Tichina Arnold to next week's guest?
I can. So, Tichina Arnold was in the 1997 film Fakin' da Funk, as mentioned, starring Margaret Cho, Nell Carter, and also starring Pam Grier, who was a series regular on The L Word that our guest next week had a arc on. Anything else I should tease about that, Anne?
This woman that we have coming up next week opened up a whole can of worms for Damien and I about, again, a topic that we didn't know that we needed to dive back into. But when I tell you that we opened up a can of 90s worms, we really did.
And if you like love all of the 90s lesbian gossip, speaking of blind items, if you love like 90s lesbian whatever, we have a treat for you. Folks, while you're on your phone listening to us, do us the great honor, please, of following us on social media. You can find me at Damian Bellino, and you can find my cohort over here at Rodemanne. That's RODEMANNE. You can also find us on Facebook, but we don't use that as much. But please find us on Twitter, Instagram, DM us, engage with us. We want to talk to you about actresses, pop culture, and all of the dumb things that we love, because we hope that you love them too, since you're here with us.
You Might Know Her From is produced by us, Damian Bellino and Anne Rodemanne. Special thanks to our consultants at Grumpy Entertainment. That's Jason Jude Hill and Daniel Sears. Daniel is also our editor. He puts together these episodes for us every week, so extra special thanks to Daniel Sears.
We also want to thank Gang for all of the music that underscores each and every one of our episodes. You can stream and download Gang's music wherever you listen to music, Apple, Spotify, wherever. Thank you to the great Gang.
Just wanted to remind you of Tichina Arnold's impression of Martin Lawrence as the leprechaun. Do it. Please do it. I wish we wanted to ask Tichina to do an Irish accent, but we thought it would be like too performative.
She's like, she crumbles to her like middle of her body and she's like, what's your lucky charms?
It's so good. Oh God, she's so good.